Hello and welcome. This is your Wish Upon a Star Lunar Horoscope for Thursday, and that's February 4th, 2021. The last quarter moon is a waning half moon, and this is during the February 2021 cycle. The decreasing half moon is going to occur while transiting through the 18th mansion of the moon at 5:37 p.m. That's using Universal Time Coordinated and Tropical Astrology. Now, lunar activation of lunar mansion number 18 during a waning half moon at 50% light is very potent for performing receptive magic spells and rituals. And also, mansion of the moon number 18 is in effect from early in the morning of February 4th of 2021 at 4:46 a.m., so very early in the morning, until very, very early in the morning of February 5th, and that's at 2:38 a.m. Now, with the waning half moon occurring in Scorpio at 5:37 p.m., lunar mansion 18 is magically activated while at the exact time of the last quarter moon in the sign of Scorpio, the Scorpion. Now, keep in mind that the number assigned to each mansion, like we're calling this mansion of the moon number 18 or lunar mansion number 18, keep in mind, it's important, that the number assigned to each mansion of the moon may vary relying upon the cultural and astrological attributes of the system being used. What pinpoints the exact lunar mansion to which we are referring is made clear by the star to be wished upon, as well as by the name of the indicated mansion of the moon. You'll notice that in some systems it might be a different number, like often there's a difference of two, like it'll be 18 in one and it'll be 22 in the other one, or something to that effect, or it could be less. It could be 16. So basically there are some systems in different cultures which you'll notice are two digits off from this one. We're using the most popular one right now, but again, it's the star that you're wishing upon and the name of that of the mansion that really nails it in, okay, so that you know exactly what we're talking about. Again, we're using the most popular number system at this time for the lunar mansions. Now, the astrology for this is going to be again, it's going to be in Scorpio, okay? I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel. I'm a Rosicrucian seer, biblical astrologer, Christian psychic, and Gnostic mystic. And this is a Readings by Rosemary angelic transmission. Now, the Astrology Angel magical invocations and horoscope prediction method, which we teach, should be used with all mindfulness, since powerful forces of manifestation are unleashed. This is intended exclusively for entertainment purposes. Now, Luna will be in Scorpio, starting at 8 degrees, 34 minutes, 17 seconds, going to Scorpio, 21 degrees, 25 minutes, and 40 seconds. That's the chunk of the Scorpio, the sign of Scorpio. It's that portion of it. And these coordinates are according to Abraham. Now, the star to wish upon inside the 18th mansion of the moon, which is called Al-Khalib, the mansion is called Al-Khalib, is named Antares, that dwells in the heart of the Scorpion. This is according to Christopher Warnock. Ask the angel of Alpha Scorpii, who is named Egibiel, to guard your house or your home against any kind of treacherous, venomous, or unwanted people or unwanted creatures, and to protect your health. Al-Khalib is a dangerous mansion, and it causes conflict, it causes riots, and it also causes the seeking of retribution and reprisals, conspiracies against royalty and powerful men, and freeing of detainees, according to Agrippa, who describes this mansion's name as being called Alchas by some and Al-Tab by others. Agrippa recommends it is a very good mansion, a quite excellent mansion, in which to make structures and buildings very strong and very fortified. And also, Warnock, on the other hand, mentions that this is a mansion in which to beware enemies attempting to separate friends from one another. Now, Warnock also describes Al-Khalib, which Agrippa calls Alchas or Al-Tab, as a mansion in which moderation of food and exercise are recommended due to probable stomach upsets and health problems like fevers and that kind of thing if one overindulges or overexerts. Now again, Agrippa discloses that ancient mansions of the moon, when it came to the sorceresses and sorcerers, used mansion of the moon number 18 to prevent or remedy stomach aches as well as feverishness, and also whether or not these symptoms appeared together or simultaneously. Over the this happens when sometimes it happens when you have the stomach upset and the fever together, and sometimes it's one or the other, like just gastritis or something. So, and sometimes if they're together, you might think it's a flu. Okay, but what gets made real clear here in these mansions is that when you start coming to this certain portion of each month, they happen each month, you'll notice that the time before that has been hectic. And if you overdo, the body will start to sort of retaliate. Okay, so we're going to kind of share with you how the mansion of the moon information will help you to stay balanced and healthy and most effective. Because if you're not healthy, you're not effective. If you're not healthy, you can't get your work done. And if you're not healthy, you can't take care of your family. You can't care about the people that you love. So it's important to be healthy. Now shamans use the rendering of a snake positioning its tailpiece up over the top of its head, and they shaped it into a copper emblem or an icon. Now this icon was then scented and given the aroma of hartshorn and subsequently put into the ground at a location where they had desired that poisonous animals, poisonous reptiles, and venomous insects be made to run away. Now hartshorn remedies, hartshorn is a powder, and it's produced from the antlers or bones of male red deer. And it has been used to create medicinal medicines and tonics and remedies meant to treat sunstroke, styes in the eye, and also snake bites, as well as being a source of smelling salts and ammonia. You see when they give smelling salts to someone to wake them up if they've like passed out or something. It's used for that. That's the hartshorn. And in a calcinated form, hartshorn was known to be a medicinal healing agent for dysentery as well. So it's very interesting what these can be used for. Now it's interesting to note that the picture that the ancients used, according to Agrippa and Warnock, was the picture of a snake holding its tail above its head. And so this is a time when I don't know if you've ever seen in some astrology pictures, they'll show you a person, a man, and his body will be wrapped around the zodiac wheel, kind of in a backwards form. And it's kind of that kind of stretching of the stomach and the abdomen, and leaning the head back and having the feet go up, and that's kind of shown in that picture. And when you say he shall decrease, the other one will increase, whether it's Jesus or the Antichrist, what it's talking about is the two, the different zodiacal attributes. And that's sort of what you want to see, like in different yoga positions where the feet are placed above the head in various types of yoga postures. So that would be at least if nothing else, when it's at least a few days or even a week before we come into these kind of mansions, one should really be stretching out their abdomen, and do not lean forward, do not hunch over. It will make you sick. Do not overexert, and don't underexert either. One has to be very balanced during this time on the lead up to this mansion. It really does work to stretch out your stomach and to not push yourself beyond physical health. It's very important. Now, according to Kabbalistic lore, Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto. Scorpio's birthstone is citrine, according to Kabbalists. Now, rosaries and amulets using citrine for Scorpio are magically potent for this praxis. Kabbalistic and alchemical planetary associations, in this instance of a waning or a waning half moon in Scorpio, the Scorpion, while transiting through lunar mansion number 18, could be utilized with perfumes, essential oils, herbs, or flowers, as well as various colors. Now, planetary alchemical metals in this case would indicate iron for Mars and also plutonium for Pluto. Iron is practical and workable for this operation. Mars's alchemical metal of iron can be therapeutic in persons that are iron deficient, or it can cause an overabundance if ingested by persons possessing an overabundance of it. Now, since iron is not ingested during any portion of this operation for making a magical talisman, it is pragmatic and usable for the fashioning of magical talismans. A warning here, Pluto's alchemical metal of plutonium is toxic and radioactive, and is therefore neither realistic nor is it feasible for this praxis. Now, only individuals who have acquired the knowledge and licensing to handle plutonium are permitted to work with it for suitable practices. Regarding the Scorpio birthstone of citrine, this could be used for an amulet talisman as well as beads for rosaries. Now, Mars's associated metal of iron could be used for the forming of a rosary chain, also for jewelry settings or for amulet bases. We're talking about like get the stone of citrine, and you can use an iron chain, and you can make beautiful rosary beads for this mansion. It would be very powerful, iron and citrine. And you could also use it to make an amulet, and the iron could be the base, and the citrine could be the talismanic gemstone. You could also make magical jewelry by having an iron ring and the setting, and having a citrine stone for this mansion. And every time this mansion's in effect, and you know it's coming, boom, you can utilize it. So very important. For those of you that thought rosaries were just silly, they're very effective, potent, and very it's a very potent and effective and powerful magical talisman. A rosary, because they match each lunar mansion, and they can be used once every, these mansions go through 28 cycles, 28 days every month, just like a woman, right? Just like a woman. So you would like invest in 28 rosaries with the right, made up of the right constituents, and you'd have a powerful magical array of and kit of magical talismans. Remember this also has where it happens every year as well, and also happens once every 12 years too. So, and there's a progression of the equinoxes, all these things. It's like just like time, just like a clock. You have your year, your eons, and your years, and your months, and your days, and your hours, and your minutes and seconds, and so on. So it's the same exact thing. Now, Mars's associated metal of iron, again, it's for working in this operation. It's something very workable, and it is practical. Now, it's important to note here that according to Vivian Irwood Robson, author of the book Fixed Stars, The Fixed Stars and Constellations in Astrology, the Greek astronomer Ptolemy attributes the triumvirate of stars which are located specifically in the center of the body of the Scorpion as being attributed to the planets Mars and in some measure to Jupiter in regard to the planetary nature of this area of the constellation of Scorpio. Keep in mind that Antares, the star to wish upon, was often referred to as being the heart of the constellation of Scorpius, the heart of the Scorpion. So this is where we have Warnock in one of his in his book about lunar mansions and the ephemeris that he has. He has a book on lunar mansions, which I have. That book mentions that the heart of Scorpio and this particular mansion, Al-Khalib or Al-Tab, This mansion is called is when the angel of death appears. Okay, and so that's the heart of Scorpio, the angel of death. It's sort of like a Passover, if you will, Passover type of thing. Now, this is in contrast to other portions of the constellation of the Scorpion, where Ptolemy assigns differing planetary aspects. It's worth restating here that Agrippa reveals copper as the metal of choice to be used in the construction of an emblem bearing the image of a snake with its tail lifted atop its head, and as a healing therapy for belly aches and high bodily temperatures. It's interesting to note that this remedy of copper is the alchemical opposite of Mars, since copper is associated with the planet Venus, with Scorpio possessing a Mars and Plutonian frequency, and with Venus being the opposing energy of Mars, therefore copper the opposing energy of iron. Perhaps copper is a fitting therapeutic treatment for ailments corresponding to lunar mansion number 18. It's sort of like if you wanted to go in a homeopathic way, like homeopathy, where you go with the disease. They give you things kind of help it through gently its healing crisis and come out the other end. Or do you want to go opposite, sort of like more Western medicine, where you, allopathic medicine, where you kind of do the opposite of what the body's trying to do. So the opposite in allopathic would be copper, and the homeopathic way would be more like the iron, going with the Mars. But you want to make sure you're really make sure that you've stretched your stomach, and really you wouldn't want to overeat if you're going to do that, because that might really get your stomach upset. So I'm just saying that's, again, you're not ingesting these things. It's just using your rosaries and using the star Antares and using the right, the right chain material, metal, alchemical metal, and the right beads. Okay. Now, also, it is possible, another possible reason for Agrippa's use of copper for lunar mansion number 18 is that, according to Robson, while Ptolemy assigns the star Antares to Mars and somewhat to Jupiter, Alvidus writes that, this is a different author, Alvidus writes that Jupiter's, this is according to Robson, Alvidus writes that Jupiter's, the Jupiter sextile Venus aspect, facet, which holds astrological sway over Antares. Okay? So that's really important. Okay? And in this way, copper could also be used for rosary chains, along with using citrine for the beads. Additionally, this combination would be workable for creating amulets and magical jewelry. Another possibility is the use of the Jovian alchemical metal of tin for mansion of the moon Al-Khalib, that the star Antares is connected with Jupiter as revealed by Ptolemy. So according to Ptolemy, it's going to be a Jupiter and Mars association. So, and you have, so I've given you the specifics here, and it can break down very specifically. And at the end of the day, you want to really look at how it makes you feel. Like if you want to use something, you pick up a rosary, you pick up an amulet, or you pick up a piece of jewelry, and it makes you feel good, well, then your body's telling you that's good. If it makes you feel sick, your body's telling you, I don't think so. Because at this point, when there's so much information being given everybody, we're being given so much information. Your body, your very own body, and listening to your own body is the very best way to know if something's good for you or if something's bad for you. Because we think that if we push our body beyond its point of comfort and make our body suffer, especially we Catholics have been known to believe that, right? Catholics are supposed to mortify the body. Well, sometimes, after my daughter told me to, so Mom, don't don't push yourself so hard. And I tell her the same thing when I see that she's pushing herself too hard when she's taking care of my grandkids. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're not pushing yourself beyond your body's physical comfort zone. And also, because that'll make you ineffective. It won't get you anywhere. You won't get any richer by pushing your body beyond its point of comfort. You won't get any richer by pushing your psychology beyond its point of comfort. You won't. Because everything's going to come to you that's going to come to you, and all you're doing is making it more difficult for you to receive if you make yourself sick. Because if you make your stomach sick, you can't receive food. If you make your mind sick, you can't receive friendship or love. So understand that you are not going to get any richer by pushing yourself spiritually, emotionally, or mentally. You're not going to get any richer. You're not going to get any stronger. You're not going to get any smarter. You're not going to get a promotion. And if you do, it'll be short-lived. And guess what? The minute you do everything that those who are in charge of you want you to do, the minute you do everything they want you to do, and there's nothing more that they can get you to do because you're doing already everything they've asked you to do, they drop you like a hot potato and go after somebody else that is the opposite of them so they can scold them and change them. And the minute that person's everything they want them to be, they drop them and go to another one. So there's no sense in pushing yourself. There's no sense in making yourself do things you don't want to do. There's no sense in doing things that you don't like. There's only sense in keeping yourself in a very balanced and pleasant state so that you can receive what the universe or what the Creatrix wants to give you. And the Creatrix is simply is a combination of many creators. The male principle is an individual, and the female principle is a group of individuals. And that's the only difference. So we talk more about groups now, and we say that we is better than I, so that would mean that the Creatrix is more important than the Creator, because Creatrix is a group, and Creator is an individual. So that's how one would analyze those situations. Now, the other Kabbalistic correspondences for lunar mansion number 18 are as follows. We're talking about Al-Khalib or Al-Tolib. Now, Moon in Scorpio. What does Moon in Scorpio bring? It provides qualities of passionate sentimentality, compassion, robustness, might, and trustworthiness. The Scorpion also has the ability to cause significant conversions and also revolutions due to possessing a transformative nature. Planetary archangel for Luna or the Moon is Gabriel. God is my strength, power of God and messenger of God. Zodiac angel for Scorpio is Barchiel, whose divine tone is I create. And tarot card for Luna or the Moon is the High Priestess card. So we have the High Priestess card here, which is for lunar mansion. I'm sorry, it's for the Moon. Excuse me. The Moon card is for Pisces. The Moon itself is associated with the High Priestess card, which is associated with the Hebrew letter Gimel, which means camel. And the High Priestess card is the gateway to the higher self, the camel Gimel, gateway to the higher self. She sits between the pillars of Yaakam and Boaz. And also she has the receptive moon at her feet. The waters flow over her, of God consciousness flow over her. She has the pomegranates behind her. The triple crowned goddess on top of her head, the moon goddess. She has a cross on her chest, and she's reading the Torah scroll. And she's showing you that all the information in the Torah is for the left brain, it's words, and where the tarot cards are to teach you the same thing, but for the right brain in pictures. Remember in the Int'l, it's picture books for women, and Torah and other rabbinical scripts and other writings for men. Right brain, left brain. And then you integrate it into the pineal gland, and one attains a higher consciousness. Now, Western Array musical note for Luna, or the Moon, is F. I'm going to play that for you now. I'm going to hold this a little bit away from here so I don't buzz too loud with the tuning fork. It's F. Okay, that's F for Luna, for the High Priestess card, for the moon. Now, the tarot card for Scorpio is death. So you have Scorpio here, the death card, and you've got the Pope standing in the way of the white horse, and the Reaper, the Grim Reaper, on the white horse, who's walked over all these bodies. But you notice the Pope's body is the same color as the sun. Okay, so the Pope's body is reflecting light, sunlight, the Vicar of Christ upon the earth. Okay, and the Pope has an ability to rise again. And another interesting note is that if you're doing a reading for health, it's not a good card to get. If you're doing a reading for a business, it shows transformation. If you're doing, if you're doing a reading for a relationship, like in love, it has to do with a sexual union, because the white horse represents sexuality and the robustness of sexuality. Because remember, Scorpio is I create. Okay, so just understand it's creation and destruction, very powerful. Like in the prayer the Rosicrucians do when we say, for Virgo, Isis, mighty mother, Scorpio, Apophis, destroyer, soul, Osiris. See, we have the soul Osiris slain and risen. It's Virgo, Scorpio, and Leo. Okay, for the LVX, Lux. Okay, all right. So that's the death card. Now, the Western Array musical note for Scorpio is E. So we'll play that one for you now. I'm tuning fork E. That's for the death card for Scorpio, for rebirth and transformation. And also for the entering into a new world. Remember, a death is a birth. And just like when a baby's born, the baby doesn't have any sensation when it's in the mother's womb of its lungs. It doesn't know what breathing is. If you told it, don't worry, when you go into the next world, you're going to get a whole new receptive vessel, and you're going to receive into that, and it's going to be a new sensation you've never had before, and it'll be wonderful. The baby wouldn't understand what you're talking about, because it has never breathed. It doesn't use its lungs, because it's fed through the blood of the mother, okay, through the placenta. It's filtered, through the placenta. And so when the baby's born, it goes through an enormous, when it comes out and it has to cry for the first time, there's many valves, and the system changes dramatically. All these valves open and close, and then when the breath comes in, a new vessel it's never used before, and a new bestowal of air into that vessel that it's never experienced. That's the same thing that happens when we die. Whether it's spiritually, a new birth spiritually, or whether it's physically or emotionally or psychologically, it's the same thing. It's a new vessel, and then when you get there, you'll have a new sensation, and it'll be a higher order of magnitude than this one, okay? A higher order of magnitude, always becoming more efficient and more organized, because life organizes. Life is a very organizational and loving, because nature does nurture. Okay. Now, regarding the information about the Kabbalah, and the information found in the document attached is based on the oral tradition known as Kabbalah, taught to me by the Rosicrucian clergy when I was but a young girl, the facts of which I've committed to memory. Now, much of the information about star magic was also taught to me through an adjacent German pagan coven, which had established various satellite covens throughout the world. I began writing a book based upon extremely important teachings in 1988, these teachings that I learned from this coven, which I have entitled to be my Star Magic Grimoire. Now, this is it. I've been writing in this for many moons, and since 1988. And I'm sharing it with you now on the internet through these videos and through the attached, go in the description box and you can get the attached blog. Also, I'd like to give you my reference books that are very important to me, and you can get the exact page numbers if you click on the link in the description box for the blog. First reference is Mansions of the Moon, a lunar zodiac for astrology and magic, with second edition with 2019 to 2033 Mansion Ephemeris by Christopher Warnock, 2019, illustrated by Nigel Jackson, again 2019. Published by Renaissance Astrology, 2019, and it has an ephemeris that you must have if you want to use those rosaries and your amulets and your jewelry and wish upon Antares. When Al-Khalib comes up, you want to get this book because it'll help you to have an ephemeris. Now, the second book, which is important, 3 books of occult philosophy, Llewellyn's source book series, authored by Henry Cornelius Agrippa of Nettisham in 1533, translated by James Freak, 1650, and annotated by Donald Tyson, 1993, published by Llewellyn Llewellyn Publications in 2000. And Donald Tyson's he's a wonderful author, and I have many books by him, and I'll be sharing some information from his books in the future because I'd like to really his books are really interesting. He has one where he talks about having Mercury being the center of your Kabbalah instead of the sun. It's very interesting. And the third one is the Fixed Stars and Constellations in Astrology, authored by Vivian E. Robson, Bachelor of Science in 1923, published by American Federation of Astrologers, Inc., and cover designed by Jack Capola. So these are the resource books which we love and we recommend to you. Thank you for joining us, and please join us again next time, every week now.